can't lie. I love this. This was at a turning point event. Yes, the Charlie Kirk turning point event in Montana, where basically those white evangelicals is all like, we don't want no Hindu. And I am so happy that Vivek Ramaswamy is getting his just due, because this man has used black people, like a lot of the colored people that are Republicans use us as the scapegoats and talk shit about us. And finally, he's getting his karma because they letting him know we don't want no Hindu. Let's go ahead and get into the intro, y'all. But first, like you see right here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get to it, y'all. Listen, they don't want no Barack Obama, no Kamala, and they don't want no Vivek either. So let's get into it, y'all. Actually, it's going to be two separate videos. So this one is from Carl. He's the guy right there. And he's, let's just get into it.
Profess to be a conservative, correct?
I'm a proud conservative.
If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth. Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith?
Ooh.
Like I said, I'm not here to justify my faith to you any more than you are to me. But what I do share is the value set this country was founded on. And I think that it's really important that we not reinvent the founding of this country and what it was actually all about. The founding fathers, they had an opportunity to write a religious code just like most other nations in human history. All right, founded either on a monarch or a particular faith or a particular lineage. That's where most nations in human history are founded. Not America. We are the only country in the human history where there is a set of civic ideals that brought together a divided polyglot group of people 250 years ago, where freedom of conscience was a core belief set of our founding fathers, all the way to Thomas Jefferson. You know who he is? What?
The slave owner?
You know what document he signed?
The Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, and what was his belief system?
He was a deist.
He was a deist. Our third president, the man who signed this nation into existence, was a deist. Do you know Benjamin Franklin?
So, as I understand it, the deism, it's kind of like you do believe in God, but as far as some of the scripture, you don't really fall into because it sounds like fairy tale. That's what I understand it to be. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but that's what I understand it. But technically, he was a Christian.
Franklin is?
Yes.
Do you know what his belief system was?
He was Quaker, yes.
He was also a deist, similar to Thomas Jefferson. So what I think that we often do is we talk about U.S. history. I have a better suggestion. Let's actually consider reading U.S. history. Consider studying U.S. history. Learn the founding of our country, and that's what made our founders, I believe, the most extraordinary people known to the history of man. We would do well to actually respect their legacy rather than to reinvent some sort of imitative version of every other nation in human history. That's not us. I'm sorry. That's what makes America great, and that's why I am proud to be an American. This is the country that I will die fighting for if I have to, because it's.
But I'm going to say this. I agree with what Vivek is saying as far as him defending himself and his position and like, hey, I still have American values. Hinduism is just my religion, right? However, what the guy Carl is saying, I don't want you coming up here and changing how we do things. We don't want you changing things around here. That's too much change. We don't want no change around here. And that's how a lot of them feel. If we're going to be completely honest, a lot of them feel that way.
Stands for those ideals, and that's why we're here.
Right. So
keep praying and pledge allegiance to the flag, my friend. Thank you.
Of course, Christ is king. But my response to that would be the same way that my church would let a practicing Hindu, a practicing Muslim, a practicing Jew come in and enter and worship with us on a Sunday morning. that person would not be allowed membership. And I'm not saying don't give other religions citizenship. I'm just saying you can have freedom of religion in an extremely religious environment. And that is what our founding fathers intended. If you look at the structure of our government, it is a replication, a mirror of the structure of Reformed churches in America in that time.
Absolutely. I think our nation was founded on Judeo-Christian principles. The question is, what are those values? They're the values enshrined in the Ten Commandments. Do we share those values in common? You're darn right we do. And I think that people of most faiths across this country share those values in common. What we're failing to do is actually standing for those values in the government that as it actually runs. And so, what I suggest is study U.S. history, study what made the country great. And if you think Thomas Jefferson or Benjamin Franklin were not eligible to be founders or leaders of the country because they were deists, then you and I respectfully have a difference of opinion. And yet the beauty of our country is we're still able to have that difference of opinion and still call ourselves fellow citizens. Thank you, my friend. All right.
Thank you very much, Vivek. Have a great rest of your day. God bless.
Here's the part that he's not adding in here, in which we know what it is. They were white. That's what they had over you. They were white. Doesn't matter if you want to break it down, what kind of religious beliefs they had. At the end of the day, they were white. They had the complexion for the protection. You, my friend, you don't have that. So let's go ahead and get into the next video. Oh, and by the way, this is where Carl said, I remember this moment vividly. It was infuriating. Thankfully, it just inspired me to hit harder when I spoke. Mind you, Vivek thinks that these are wins for him. So let's go ahead and get into the next video, right? He thinks that he had this breakthrough, but I noticed that they cut off the video at the end. So let's get to it, you guys.
I call myself a Hindu.
Okay, so I have a personal question.
That's allowed.
So based on the press, based on what the press says about your beliefs, you call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu.
Okay,
Mm.
So based on what the Turning Point's values are, which is Christianity, I'm a little confused on why you believe in I don't know. Wouldn't it be logical to conclude that a monotheistic organization would be more? I don't know. I guess I just don't understand why. I guess a polytheistic ideology would support some sort of, I guess, monotheistic perspective which Christianity is. So I guess
I want to say this, bitch, do you know how to speak? But secondly, I think what the struggle is, what they're doing, they're trying not to come off as bigoted. So they're trying to choose their words wisely. I think that's why they're stumbling over their words. And two, they can just be ignorant and bigoted, but they're stumbling over the words because they don't want it to appear that way. But basically, when they're referencing him as a Hindu, it's just not his religion. They're saying, no, you are a Hindu. This is your ethnicity. You are a Hindu. You know, that's how they see him.
Why you have Christian values in that way.
Sure. Happy to address that. What's your name, sir?
Liam Birmingham.
Liam. So tell me about what you know about Hinduism.
Hinduism is a polytheistic religion that.
So with due respect, I'll just cut in right there because there's one thing I have a little bit of authority on. I'm actually a monotheist. I believe there's one true God. It's from the Vedanta tradition of Advaita philosophy, not stuff that we need to spend a ton of time here on. But since you asked about it, I wanted to address it. I believe there's one true God. Now let me just ask you, because I know that may be a hard thing to process. What's your faith?
I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Great. Do you believe in the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
I think a lot of people here do. So
good. And that doesn't make you a polytheist, does it?
Probably not. No.
Great. Because I think this is it's a great spiritual question. There's good dialogue here. Is every religion has its reconciling of the one and the many. And so in my faith,
no, the Holy Trinity isn't telling you that there's three separate God. No. That's not the same thing, sir. Because as you guys know, Hinduism, they have multiple gods. But what he's saying is that he only has mono. He only believes in one. It's a certain sector that he believes in. But he's trying to compare that to the Holy Trinity, and no, that's not the same thing. As basically three gods. Basically, that's what he's saying.
I believe there's one true God. He resides in all of us, and he appears in different forms, but it's one true God. So I'm an ethical monotheist. That's the way I would describe my faith. Now, I will tell you, I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. Can I ask you a question in response? Because I love dialogue like this.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's no. Well,
You be honest.
isn't Hinduism? Well, I mean, I can ask yourself that Hinduism believes in Shiva and what is it? The flute god. I forget.
Right, Krishna, who's you're thinking of.
Yeah, Krishna.
So the one thing for you to take away from, about my
Basically, he doesn't think you should be in any kind of political office or at least running the state. They don't believe that at all. They don't want you. But of course, he's not realizing this.
faith is, I'm an ethical monotheist. I believe in one true God, the Advaita philosophy of Vedanta. And I think that as you think about the Holy Trinity and what that means for, you're not a polytheist either. That's a similar philosophy. And I'd love to kind of continue that over a religious dinner conversation sometime. But
you also call yourself a Hindu as well.
I'm a Hindu. I am a Hindu. So I'd like to. So we're here mostly. I love having spiritual discussions. We can continue this another time. What I'd like to focus on today, though, is actually where that leaves us with the values of our own country, the shared values of this country, and actually, to that effect, what's your name?
Liam Birmingham.
Liam, I have something I'd like to give you. Would you like to?
Here's the thing, because he's trying to pacify and basically go like, even though I'm a different religion, we have the same values. Yeah, I believe you can share the same values as a Hindu, as a Muslim, as a Christian, as Catholic. You can share certain values, right? But at the end of the day, what they're plainly saying to him, he's getting his Hindu wake-up call. I can't say Negro because he's not a Negro, but he's getting his Hindu wake-up call. Like, they just don't want you. They don't want an Indian. They don't want a Hindu. They're saying it plainly, but you're still trying to be like, well, our founding fathers. Blah, blah, blah. You weren't in the founding fathers' image. You weren't at all. Let's be clear about that. Let's be clear.
Just come on stage and join me for a moment. It's something that's really important to me. It's next to my faith and to my family. This is the next most important thing to me in life. I usually keep it with me. And for tonight, I think it'll actually be really useful for having you come up here, and I'd love to give it to you. You want to join us for a second? Give Liam a round of applause, folks, for being brave and asking a tough question. Thank you.
Okay, let's fast forward a little bit.
More than the differences in our faith is our shared value set. And next to my faith and my family, this is the next most important thing to me. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm going to give you my copy from today. And there's 7 articles in it. I'll ask you to just open it up real quick to Article 6, if you will, for a second. And I think it's actually, we talk about the Constitution a lot in our country, and I love that. One of the things I love about it is it actually makes sense to read the Constitution from time to time. It's a good thing to actually read. So we'll go to Article 6. There's 7 articles in it.
Can he actually read, though? That's what I was... Y'all, I'm sorry. I was thinking that in my head. Can he actually read? Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You know we messy over here.
And why don't you just read the part 3 to the audience? We'll make this our constitutional reading for the day.
The senators and representatives before mentioned and the members of the several states legislators and all executives and judicial officers both in the United States and several states shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office or public trust under the United States.
And then that's the end of the video, you guys. But I want to go ahead and pull up the comments because that's directly from his X account. Let's go ahead and pull up the comments here. One moment. Let me drag this back up. Okay, so we're just going to scroll underneath. So here somebody put up a sign, Hindus barred as the citizens of the United States. This is underneath his comment section. Bro, you're not white. Lay off the makeup. Lizzie says Vivek is absolutely would be inappropriate to elect a Hindu for Ohio's governor or U.S. president. Damn, mind you, he's an actual citizen. Like, he's not foreigner. He was born here in this country. We are a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. The American dream, the you love to speak about, is born out of gospel message of Jesus Christ. The further we move away from that, the further our nation drifts into depravity. Wow. I love to scam. My mother does too. Oh, I heard he was selling something. Let me skip that because I don't want to get in trouble for spreading misinformation. Vivek is someone who can actually not just carry forward Charlie Kirk's legacy, but in some ways is even more balanced and reasonable than Charlie Kirk. Let me tell you, if I'm going to a room full of people that I know don't really like me or they don't really F with me, I will, I probably wouldn't do it. I'll be like, nah, unless the money was good. I don't mind going into hostile environments if the money good. I'll go, but for free 99, hell nah. This one says, you are not an American, even though he was born here. My founding fathers were clear. Only reason you are here is 2 Jews push. Oh, Lord, I can't read that one. Yes, it's inappropriate for someone who is Hindu to be the U.S. president. There is no R for you. Damn. You are Indian. Yo, these comments are crazy, y'all. If a Christian went to India and wanted to run the place, the Hindus of India would explosively applaud because of the great risk of the divided loyalty. Your H-1B1 visa position proves this. Oh, he's one of the proponents for, increasing the H-1B visa. And a lot of people don't like that because you're bringing people from overseas over here, taking up American jobs, which they're paying the foreigners less. And then when we go for the job, they're all like, oh, you're asking for too much. And we have people who are skilled in this country, but they don't want to pay them what they're worth. Dear Americans, Hindus in America would genuinely welcome you to discuss the critique of Hinduism. Feel free to challenge anything you find bizarre and questionable. But first, you need to put in the work, read up on Hinduism. I like this comment because I wonder have people actually read up on it. I'll be the first one to admit I have not read up on it. I just remember a little bit from, high school and stuff like that, but it's not something that I've studied, Oh, dang it. Why am I not in the crowd? Kudos to the guy who tried to spread awareness in the crowd. Love it. Vivek can try to play around with his words regarding the definition of Hinduism, thinking Americans have a little clue of it. But the most important thing in all of, let's continue. Where was I? The most important thing, a little clue of it, but the most important thing in all of this, Vivek tried to cleverly accuse Christianity of being polytheistic faith to like Hinduism by bringing up the Trinity. What Vivek doesn't get is Christians don't have a separate church for Holy Spirit, a separate church for the Father, and a separate church for Jesus, like Hindus. Right. And that's what I was saying. I was like, that's not the same thing because it's not like it's separate or like multiple or many, and then they go into all the other gods and stuff like that. It's long. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because, again, Vivek has said a lot of slanderous things against Black Americans, and he's doing it to cater to his base, his white audience. But remember, Ann Coulter said, I love everything that you were speaking of. I love, how, articulate you are. And then in that interview, she was like, but I wouldn't vote for you because you're Indian. No matter what you do, no matter if you put all that cremation on your face, you're still a Hindu to them. It is what it is. But hey, there's a governor race next year. Make sure you guys are registered to vote. Do your thug thizzle and don't vote for this guy. Anyway, you guys, I love y'all. Please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We out of here, y'all. Deuces, everybody. We out.